Is Black Bag the spy thriller we all hoped and dreamed it would be? Companion, did they give away too much in the trailer? And Suzanne Collins continues to milk Hunger Games for all it's worth. Welcome to This Is Reviewable.
With Micah and Braden.
Okay, we watched the 2025 spy thriller called Black Bag, starring Michael Fassbender, who you may know from The Killer. Will that joke ever get old?
No.
Michael Fassbender, Cate Blanchett, who you may know from The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, is she?
Galadriel.
Galadriel.
That's right. Also starring, sort of, Pierce Brosnan, the former James Bond, Naomi Harris, the current Miss Moneypenny, and a couple of people that I don't know, but I'll say their names because maybe you know them. We've got Tom Burke, Marisa Abela. Oh, Gustav Skarsgård? Who was Philip in this movie? Was he the first guy?
Is he? Yeah.
That's got to be him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Regé Jean, I don't know how to say that.
Page.
Regé Jean Page. Sounds very...
From Bridgerton.
Okay, that's what he's from.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's this movie about, Micah?
The movie starts off with Michael Fassbender.
Right, who we know from The Killer.
Right.
Okay.
Also known as George, meeting with
Philip,
a contact, basically saying someone that he works with has betrayed them.
Yeah, there's a mole
amongst
in
them.
the agency.
And George is given 5 names.
Is that right? Let me think about that.
The 2 couples and his wife.
Yeah, and his wife.
And he's told he has a week to figure out who the mole is. Otherwise, bad things will happen.
Right.
And so the movie is just George trying to figure out who done it.
It's if you're expecting a James Bond type spy movie, that's not this.
This is not an action-packed movie. Spy movie.
Yeah, it's not a Jason Bourne. It's not a James Bond. It's one of those. It's if you've ever seen Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, it's a little more like that. Did you ever watch that with me?
I've never heard of that before.
Okay, that one was pretty good. I liked that. Has Tom Hardy and Gary Oldman and.
Did you see that Tom Hardy's in something new?
Oh, a show, right?
Yeah. Like on Paramount or something?
Yeah. I haven't looked into it.
Me neither.
Cards on the table here. We watched this movie like a week ago or more. I don't remember the plot very well. I do remember liking it.
I remember liking it too. Something that I think was kind of frustrating. They used a lot of acronyms that were not super commonly used.
Like what? I don't remember.
I just remember this is kind of a complicated movie.
No, it's definitely one you need to pay attention to, and you're probably still going to have questions when you're done.
Because I feel like we did a really good job of paying attention during this movie.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah. It's sort of coming back to me now. But it's an espionage movie. It's Michael. It really centers around Michael Fassbender trying to figure out who the mole is, but also there's this theme of him and his wife willing to do anything for each other, basically.
Catherine.
Yeah, they have the strongest relationship. They're a power couple, as it were. You know, there's conflict there because what if your wife is the mole, and what are you willing to do if that's the case? Are you willing to kill to cover up what she's done, or are you willing to kill innocent people to cover up what she's done? Is she willing to do that for you? So there's sort of that tug of war going on. And then also like, well, maybe he'll betray his wife if it turns out it's her, and maybe she's betraying him. There's a lot of that kind of what's gonna happen, how's this all gonna finish. You know, the nature of this is it's very hard to talk about it without spoiling things. Anything that happens in this movie is going to be hard to talk about without spoiling something. The performances are really good.
The writing is good.
The writing is sharp. It's very fast. So that's part of the reason why you're going to need to pay close attention and probably do some Google searching after this is done, because you'll most likely have some questions. But
I think it was cast well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love Michael Fassbender. I'm always happy to see him.
Yeah.
Cate Blanchett is good in this as well. Everyone's good, right?
Has she always looked like that, or is that because she's had a lot of work done?
I think she's probably had work done, and she's getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's getting older. Pierce Brosnan, he's in the movie, and he is kind of important in the movie too, but I wanted to see a little more of him, honestly.
Something else I really liked was the way that their house was decorated, which I know is like has nothing to do with the movie really, but it just felt very classy.
But you're giving Catherine and George some style points, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's super well dressed.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially Michael Fassbender.
yeah.
Yeah, he always looks great. Even when he goes fishing, you're
Yes.
like, dang, dude, your colors are matching. Your sweater matches your stupid little fishing boots, and it
His wellies.
yeah, and it looks good. So that's cool for sure. It's just it's good. It is good, but you need to be prepared for slow. So if you want a fast spy movie, then
This ain't it.
this is not it. Watch Skyfall before, watch Skyfall tonight, this weekend, whatever, and then watch this once you have come down off of your desire to watch a really fast spy movie. This is going to be a
Thinker.
thinker and a pay attentioner and a
Pacer.
sharp dialoguer.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
But in some ways, like, I enjoyed it more than action
Yeah.
spy movies.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because it's different enough while also being so entertaining.
Right. Because we didn't get bored with this.
No, not at all.
Yeah, at any point.
Parents Guide.
It's rated R for language, and there's a teensy bit of violence. The violence, I doubt, is rated R, honestly. There's
The hand thing and then the ending.
And then there's a shooting. Yeah, I don't know. It's like on the border between PG-13 and R, but it's definitely not the worst I've ever seen.
Only like 2 parts.
Yeah.
Also.
And then there's language. The language is somewhat frequent throughout, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. So that's that. Rating time. I think that I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I liked it, but I didn't love it. I'm gonna give it a. Here's the reason I didn't love it. I didn't really like the stakes. It all felt kind of convoluted to me.
Like it didn't mean anything to us.
Yeah, and it like too many moving parts, and I wish so when they reveal the motivations for the mole and what they're doing, I wish that they had been maybe a little bit more straightforward. It just felt like I don't know, sort of like a 4D chess move that was kind of annoying to me. Like the people that were perpetrating the plot were playing 4D chess while we were all playing checkers. That sort of thing. Like the motivations and what they were trying to do in the end, I didn't love. I was like, but maybe that's the sort of hijinks that real spies get up to. I like how I'm calling, geopolitical terrorism hijinks. I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of that. I really liked the cat and mouse sort of stuff, but what was all behind it wasn't a big fan of. Wasn't my favorite.
Okay.
So that being said, I'm gonna give this a 7. I think a 7 peaked lapels out of 10. How do you like that?
Before I rate this, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess maybe something just to point out. What was that? A Haunting in Venice?
Yeah.
How they don't really show you a whole lot, but then they all of a sudden are like, surprised, this is what happened, this is what I saw. Did you feel like that happened at all?
With this?
In this movie?
No. But it's not a detective movie.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it. I guess you could still apply the same principle that it's better to give the audience clues and enough clues that they could have figured it out before the ending. Because A Haunting in Venice, like, unless you know what happens, there are moments where they're just pulling things out of their ass.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he was hiding in the fireplace because there is a footprint in the flue. And they never showed you the flue.
Yeah.
Right? So you would have not been able to guess where that guy was hiding. That kind of a thing in a detective movie sucks. I'd have to watch this again to decide if that was the case or not.
Because I am thinking that even if they did have parts that mirrored A Haunting in Venice of not showing us things, I don't think I'm upset by it, because I just feel like this was a more well done movie. And maybe it's just because everyone is dressed really classy and I like their accents better, and their accents don't feel cheesy.
Oh, one thing was Naomi Harris was supposed to be from Manchester. Okay, yeah, she's from London. So I'm not an expert on English accents. I've watched enough Champions League coverage and enough Premier League coverage to know the difference between a London accent and a Manchester accent. And her Manchester accent is like barely there. Only very certain. it was kind of bothering me. If anyone from England is listening to this and watched this movie, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but it sounded to me like she was just doing a London accent, and then she remembered halfway through reading her lines, oh wait, I'm supposed to be from Manchester, and so she, you know,
Threw in a word.
she northerned it up a bit.
Yeah.
She northerned it up a bit.
So you felt like her accent was too posh?
It was too London, and then just the wrong. I felt like she didn't do a good job with it. Me, an American that doesn't really know the subtleties between the different accents in England, I wasn't digging it.
But you did point it out during the movie also.
Right.
I remember you pointing it out.
Well, because she would say a word, and I'd be like, okay, that sounds like
Manchester.
That sounds like a Manchurian. Jamie Tart is from Manchester, so the way he talks, that's a Manchester accent.
Mm.
She did not sound like that. Only like very specific words.
Yeah, interesting.
So that kind of bothered me.
Okay. Well, like I said, I enjoyed this movie. Like I just said, I think the part that really I enjoyed the most was the way that everyone was dressed and the way that everybody talked. I think that the story was enjoyable. I definitely could see myself watching this again. So I think I'm going to rate this an 8.5. What's in that trash can out of 10?
What was in the trash can? Spoiler time?
Yeah, spoilers.
What was in the trash can?
The receipt to the movie theater.
Oh, who planted that? Was it Bridgerton man?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch this movie again. I feel like we're not really qualified to be talking about this right now, to tell you the truth. Cards on the table again. This is one that you need to have like a degree. You need to go get a degree in black bag. I'm just kidding, but at least a second watch. This warrants a second watch, I think, for me to solidify my opinion on it. But it's good enough that I want to watch it again. You know,
Yeah.
I think it was Steven Soderberg, if I'm not wrong, as well, that directed it. Yeah, Steven Soderberg, who did Ocean's 11 and Logan Lucky.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that movie, Logan Lucky. We should watch that again.
Yeah, it's good.
If for nothing else than the part of them talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It turns out that Bridgerton man was the one that was trying to...
That was the mole.
So they don't work for MI6. They work for some sort of...
Subcontracted, maybe?
No, it's like a cyber security agency or something like that in England. But they have this program. I can't remember what they call it. Do they call it Icarus? Does that sound right? What do they call it? Anyway, it's got a code name.
Like an S or something.
It's got like a code name. Micah thinks it starts with an S. Okay, Wikipedia, this will help. British born Severus. That's what it's called.
Say it.
What?
Say I was right.
Did it start with an S?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Say it.
I was right. It did have a code name. I was right.
You're dumb.
Micah was right because it starts with an S, and it's called Severus, and it's this program that you can plug it into a nuclear reactor and basically cause the reactor to melt down. And the bad guy, Mr. Bridgerton, he allows Severus to fall into the hands of these Russian terrorist guys in the hopes that they are going to cause a meltdown somewhere in Russia, thereby destabilizing Russia, which is advantageous for the Great Britain. You know, sort of 7 layers of Kevin Bacon going on here. Like, it's just... Do you see what I mean? It's just sort of like... What? I miss the simple days when someone was just launching a nuke and we needed to... we needed to get the codes and turn the key and hit the button and stop the nuke.
Well, it's also, I guess, kind of interesting that the Russians have come back to be the bad guys again.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
in movies and films and stuff.
In general, they kind of are the bad guys right now.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying I watched a video talking about how, like, during, like, the Cold War and, like, afterwards,
yeah,
Russians were always the bad guys in movies.
In American movies, for sure. Yeah.
And then I think after, like, 9/11,
It
It
was
was Middle Eastern
yeah,
people from the Middle East.
yeah.
And now it's kind of, I think, going back to Russia.
Listen, you may call it cynical. That was going to be a really good quote too. You may call it cynical. I call it writing the algorithm.
The Russian thing?
Yeah, and the Middle Eastern thing.
Oh, yeah.
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 They're playing right into the algorithm, Micah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Not that Hollywood is YouTube, but it is, basically. Same principles apply.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense because Russia invaded Ukraine, and that's in everybody's minds right now. So it makes sense that Russia would be as the bad guy. So yeah, that was a little bit disappointing. But
Well, something else that was kind of annoying is Mr. Bridgerton's girlfriend is the company therapist,
right,
and he tells her everything.
yeah, that was dumb.
It wasn't in confidence. It wasn't in a session.
I don't know why you would do that. Like, how does that even come up? Like, they must have just been hanging out.
That's what it was. He
Yeah.
got wasted, and they were at one of their houses.
Okay. Well, you know what? He's drunk. Maybe.
But it wasn't like he told her in confidence in a session, and then she was like, "I can't say anything." So, in my opinion, that's kind of dumb.
Bet she said she couldn't say anything
Yeah.
because she could.
What is stopping her? She's already breaking the rules by dating a patient.
Right. I liked the scene where they're all at dinner.
The first time?
Yeah. And George is like lie detecting everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a human lie detector. So that's George's specialty. He's really good at sniffing out lies. And that's actually one of the things he says because he invites them all to dinner after he gets the list from Gustav Skarsgård, whatever that guy's name is, Philip. He gets the list, invites them all to dinner, and he tells his wife, by the way, avoid the chicken tikka masala. I put a heavy dose of,
Something.
he gives the medicine that he put in there, and it's like it loosens the inhibitions, I guess. So
Truth serum?
yeah, I guess. I don't know. They don't call it that because that's probably not what it is exactly. But
Truth serum, though?
But then he has like these fun little games where he's asking everybody a question, or they have to make a resolution for the person next to them. So he's trying to like read everybody. But one of the things he says in that very first scene is, "I don't like liars." You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, "Ooh, yeah." The way you said that, I bet you don't.
Yeah. Well, and he hates lying and liars in general, and just anything to do with lying.
Right.
And there's a part at the end of the movie where he's kind of messed up about something. He made a mistake,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in a meeting, and the director or whoever's their boss is talking about this mistake, and they don't know who did it. And you can see him sitting there
He's
and
so
just
uncomfortable.
so uncomfortable.
What did he do again? That was he commandeered the satellite, but what was
that?
Oh,
To see his wife.
well, hang on though, because that was a crucial moment that allowed the Russian to get out of their surveillance. How does that work out? Were they just going to hijack the satellite later? Because he inadvertently allows the Russian to escape from surveillance. They're surveilling his house, and he hijacks one of the satellites during a satellite transfer, because his wife is having a secret meeting and he wants to spy on her. At this point, you're not sure if he's spying on her because he doesn't trust her or just because he wants to help her. It turns out he wants to help her. He wants to see who she's meeting with. And he hijacks the satellite so they lose the Russian guy and he escapes the house during that handoff. What is unclear, though, is the culprit of this whole plot is Mr. Bridgerton, right? How did Mr. Bridgerton know to evacuate the Russian guy during that transfer when George was he wasn't hijacking the satellite for that reason?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I thought that we didn't know who, like, if there were other people involved.
Well, they shoot Mr. Bridgerton in the head, and then they are pretty sure that Pierce Brosnan, I can't remember how they know Pierce Brosnan is involved, but he is somehow. Also, how f***ed is it to eat a fish that's still alive?
Yeah.
I can see why that's illegal.
Yeah.
Like, that's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We need to watch this again. I'm sure there's an answer to this question. There must be. Do you have any other spoiler stuff you want to talk about?
No.
All right. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go
I'll
first?
go first.
All right.
Okay. So I read the new Suzanne Collins book, Sunrise on the Reaping. If you don't know what this book is about, I feel like everybody does at this point, but it is brand new. This is a prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy, and this is Haymitch's origin story, I guess. So this book starts out Reaping Day. He's 16, and it's his birthday. It goes through his experience of being in the Hunger Games. This book, in my opinion, gave a ton of context to who he is and why he's such an asshole and why he is so messed up, and it's so deserved.
So you're saying what happened to him he deserved?
No,
That's
but
what,
it's
that's what you
also it's also so sad, all of the stuff that happened to him. So when he, just at the very beginning of the book, he gets reaped illegally. So the 50th quarter quell is the year that he competes in the Hunger Games. They take a double amount of competitors. What do they call them? I can't remember.
Oh, tributes.
Tributes.
Yeah, competitors, athletes, players,
And one of the boys that
trainees. All right, I'll stop. Go ahead.
competitors. Did I already say that?
Yeah,
one?
you said that.
Okay. One of the boys that gets reaped tries to run away and he gets unalived. And long story short, Haymitch tries to help the situation, and the person who is Effie Trinket before Effie Trinket is who she is gets upset at Haymitch
Call her Preffy Trinket.
Basically gets upset at Haymitch and is like, "That's it, you're in." And they redo the calling of names, and she just calls his name.
Yeah.
And he has to deal with all of that. And
Are you spoiling things right now?
Because that's at the very beginning of the book. I just think this book is definitely worth reading. I don't want to spoil very much, but the ending, so sad. The whole games is really interesting. I will say I have made it onto the Hunger Games side of TikTok, and everybody talking about this book, and apparently a movie's coming out the end of next year.
Insane.
Why?
That's such a quick turnaround.
Well, same with the Songbirds and Snakes one.
Yeah, but I guess if you're that popular, and there's already precedent for your movies, it's going to get optioned really fast.
Yeah.
Did she write these for the movies? Do you think?
I don't think so. Apparently, Kieran Culkin might play.
Hey, Mitch.
No, the equivalent of who's Stanley Tucci's character in the movies?
Oh, yeah, the guy from Devil Wears Prada, Tom Ford.
What's his name? I can't remember.
Caesar something.
Yeah, Caesar Flickerman. Apparently, he'll play the equivalent of Caesar Flickerman, supposedly.
Yeah,
which I could see.
Yeah, he could do that.
Doing really well.
Yeah.
Anyways, so when people are talking about casting for the movie, everyone keeps saying that they should just put a notice at the beginning of the movie saying pretend he's 16 and just have
Woody
Harrelson wear a wig and like a backwards hat or one of those propeller hats and like carry a lollipop the whole movie. And honestly, why do I not hate it?
Yeah.
He's such a good actor that I feel like it would do really. He's so good.
I want you to stop saying odd shit. Like you're in The Faded Memory of a Town. Just stop. It's weird. What's that from?
It's True Detective.
Yeah.
So, if I have to rate this...
Okay, which you do.
Which I do. I honestly am going to rate this a 10 out of 10.
What?
I really enjoyed this book.
Oh my god.
Braden, you don't know.
Okay.
So
all I'm saying is I've read the first two Hunger Games books.
I think she's gotten better.
Okay.
With time, honestly. I'm going to rate this a 10 Woody Harrelsons out of 10. Okay, do you want to hear some of the spoilers?
Yeah.
Okay. Spoilers ahead, everybody. Haymitch obviously wins.
Yeah, doesn't he like trick someone into electrocuting themselves or something? Or there's some sort of thing about the world that he's in and he tricks them or something.
He figures out that if you throw something off the edge of
back.
It'll bounce back. That's how he wins.
That's right.
But when he wins the Hunger Games, he has this girlfriend back home. and she ends up dying
Okay.
because of President Snow poisons her because of stuff that happened during the Hunger Games. He's getting punished. And then his family lives in, the scene, the ghetto, and when he makes it back to District 12, he's walking back home and he's wondering where everybody is, and nobody is around. And he sees smoke as he's getting closer to his house, and his family was trapped inside. It's mentioned that his mom is super careful with like fire in their house, but their house was on fire and they were trapped, him in it. Her, the mom, and his younger brother were trapped inside and they died.
So President Snow did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody that he cared about, I mean, his family and his girlfriend died. And so he pushes everybody away and he starts drinking. And apparently, Katniss's parents were like his best friends.
Oh,
And he
really?
pushed them away because he was worried that they would die.
See, that feels like maybe like a little bit too much of a connection to the first books to me. Like, do they really need to be his best friends? You know what I'm saying? Why does that need to be?
Because they were the same age and
I don't know.
were into the same type of illegal activity, basically.
What's the population of District 12?
At Katniss's time, it's 8,000.
I'll accept it. I don't like it, but I'll accept it. So back in the day, Suzanne Collins maybe had the worst website on the planet. It was basically all just on the same page, and you could literally scroll for like, I swear, 5 minutes, and you wouldn't reach the bottom.
Well, and it was just like a white background with just text.
And pictures here and there, but they weren't all centered. Like there were some off to the left and some off to the right.
It was like a 12-year-old that was learning how to code.
It was awful. It's a lot better now. I wouldn't call it good, but it's much better now. There's tabs to organize things.
Yeah.
Nothing is too long, right? You scroll for a little bit, but it ends. She doesn't have a footer. I would strongly suggest a footer.
It's a lot better though.
Yeah, it's a lot better. It's not horrible. Not horrible. So that's your update on Suzanne Collins's website. I watched Companion, which I have said I've been saying that I'm gonna watch it, and I liked it. Is that good enough?
Yeah.
All right, fair. This is a 2025 thriller. It's horror adjacent, but I wouldn't call it a horror movie. It's a thriller sci-fi sort of movie, and it stars Sophie Thatcher, who was in Heretic, and she's also one of the lead characters in Yellow Jackets. Apparently, I haven't seen that though. And Jack Quaid. Those are the main actors. Jack Quaid from The Boys. There's also Rupert Friend briefly, who was in Death of Stalin. And what is this movie about without spoiling anything? Because, by the way, if anything that I have said or will say about this movie intrigues you and makes you want to watch it, don't watch the trailer. The trailer will spoil something that if it was just dropped on you and you didn't know anything about it, it would make you be like, "What?" I already knew what was going to happen before, so I didn't get to have that moment, which sucked cuz I think that this would have been really cool to go into fresh without knowing anything.
Wait, is this a scary movie?
It's like horror adjacent,
Oh, did you already say
sort of
that?
like The Menu. I'd
Oh.
say it's the same level as The
Okay.
Menu, so you could probably handle it. It's a little more violent.
Okay.
You'd have to close your eyes at certain parts.
Okay.
But basically, what's going on is Jack Quaid, is dating Iris, Sophie Thatcher, and they are going to a lake house for the weekend to meet some of their friends. Their friend Kat is the mistress of this Russian millionaire guy who owns the lake house. And they also invited another couple. There's Eli and Patrick, gay couple. They are their friends. So they're all going to have like a weekend at this lake house. And Iris is really self-conscious about how Josh's friends see her. She feels like Kat doesn't like her in particular. and she just wants to make Josh happy, and she wants to be, a good companion to him, right? And that she's very preoccupied with this. And they get to the cabin, and shit goes down. And that's all I'm going to say, because really you should watch this fresh. There is a twist that happens pretty early on, and you'll be like, what? And then there's another twist. This one actually did get me. This one I didn't see coming. But there's another twist, and I went, and then I actually got to have that moment where I was like, oh, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And it's good. And there's some crazy deaths that happen. There are some schemes and plots, and there are some ethical questions that get raised that are interesting to talk about. They're certainly not new ethical questions, but they're still interesting, and I'll get into why they're not new and what they are in spoiler section. But it's edited really well. Also, it's shot really well. The soundtrack is really kind of killer. I liked it a lot. That Bee Gees song that I was playing that you skipped because
Oh, Emotion.
yeah, that was the credit song for this,
Oh, okay.
and it's like perfect.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good.
It's perfect for this movie too. Yeah, this movie's got a lot of style, and I liked it quite a bit. So if I were to rate it, if you're making me rate it,
Which we are.
which you are, I think I would give this a solid 8.5. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 automatic bottle openers out of 10.
Okay.
Do you want to hear what the spoilers or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so it turns out that Iris is a companion robot.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Is that what you find out right at the beginning?
No, not at the beginning.
Wait, so
So
this is like a
so you've seen this is look. I mean even the poster
yeah,
gives
that's
it away.
fair. That's fair.
Cuz like you see it and you're like that's not normal. There's something going on here. Iris is not a normal person.
That's why I thought that it was a super scary movie.
Yeah. And like the trailer it shows Jack Quaid forcing Iris to hold her hand over a candle until her hand lights on fire.
Mm.
And you're like, how is he controlling her? There's something wrong with her, It gives away too much.
Lars in the real world.
And the real girl.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you didn't know that she was a robot, there definitely are hints. Like you could figure it out.
Mm.
This is a movie that gives you enough hints to figure it out, which we've already talked about in today's episode. We like it when that happens.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, Josh says, "Iris, go to sleep," and then her eyes go, and that would be like the reveal point.
Oh.
And it would have been like, what? Should I just give the whole plot basically?
Wait. Forgot to say this earlier, but about we like it when they give us hints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like it when the creators of movies treat us like we're smart.
Yeah.
Give me the opportunity to figure this out on my own. But also, I felt like Black Bag maybe
It treated us like we were too smart.
too smart.
Like I said, you need a degree in black bag.
Yes.
A master's even. So basically, it's kind of funny. Kat and Josh, so Kat, the mistress of the Russian guy that owns the lake house,
Okay.
they hatched this plan because Josh, or the Russian guy, is super rich, and Kat tells Josh, this guy has made his money, in a sketchy way, and let's take it off his hands. Let's get Iris to kill him so that we can steal it and pin it all on Iris. And so Josh mods Iris because these robots are built to not hurt any human, and so he mods her, and they manipulate the Russian into trying to get with Iris.
Okay.
And because they've modded her, they turn her like self-defense settings up really high, and so she finds a knife in her pocket and she stabs him.
Oh, jeez.
And Josh planted that knife in her
Oh, jeez.
in her pocket. And so that's their plot. Things go wrong though. Wait. No, yeah, that is what they wanted. I can't remember what goes wrong. Iris gets away. Oh yeah, that's right. Iris gets away, and then they're trying to hunt her down. Eli and Patrick are hunting her down. Turns out Patrick is a robot as well. That was the reveal
Oh.
that I was like, whoa, because Eli says Patrick go to sleep, and he does the same thing. They're trying to hunt her down in the forest.
Okay, actually, that makes more sense looking at the cast list. Because I was thinking there's no way that Patrick and Eli are actually together.
Yeah, yeah. Patrick is more handsome.
Yeah. Have you heard of punching up?
No.
That Eli is.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he's punching up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Iris ends up stabbing Eli in self defense, killing Eli in self defense.
Hmm.
And so that's why things kind of spiral out of control. I don't want to get this wrong. Josh factory resets Patrick and mods him. And the way that you establish, dominance over one of these robots is when you reset them, your face needs to be the first thing that they see, and then they will like establish a meet cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny actually because they
Do they call it that?
yeah, he's because Iris has this vivid memory of like shopping for oranges, and then she's shopping, and then Josh is like trying to grab an orange, and all of the oranges fall out of the orange crate, and he's like, shit, oh shit, and that's their meet cute or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, but what about the day we met? And he's like, the oranges? Yeah, that's just like a meet cute. I selected it from like a drop down that they have. That's the one that I picked. The meet cute for Patrick and Eli is Eli was wearing a dinosaur costume at a party, and Patrick was stepping on his tail, and he's like, "You're stepping on my tail." What? And he takes his mask off. You're stepping on my tail. He's like, oh, sorry. And then they see each other and they're like, hi,
Hard ice.
hi. And then they start dancing at the party. And there's like a little scene. So they go through that whole thing with Eli and Patrick. And then Josh factory resets him, puts his face in front of Patrick. And then it does the whole thing again, except it's Josh instead. And they go through the dance again and everything.
That's funny.
So this movie's got a sense of humor too. Dark humor. They need to be able to hunt down Iris, so Josh takes over Patrick, turns his aggression all the way up. Patrick ends up killing a cop and then brings Iris back to the house. Kat is like, what? He killed a cop? This is insane. I'm leaving. I'm taking my half of the money. I'm getting out of here. And Josh is like, no, you're not leaving, because he's, worried or whatever. And he says, Patrick, stop her. And Patrick stabs her because his aggression got turned all the way up. So Kat dies. Yeah, it's just things spiral completely out of control. But Josh is a total like needs validation more than anything, but he's a sociopath, and he's a dick, and he's just the worst. And he's about to kill Iris at the end, and there's this electric bottle opener corkscrew thing,
Mm-hmm.
and Jack Quaid's about to kill Iris, and he is like, okay, any last words? And she's like, yes, go to sleep, Josh. And she like hits him with the electric
Oh,
bottle
my
opener,
gosh.
and the corkscrew goes into his head,
Ew.
and he dies. And Iris is free, and she was able to like basically become an autonomous robot by
Ex
the end.
Machina.
Yeah, so she's totally free. No one's in control of her at the end. She escapes, and that's the end of this movie. So yeah, like there's the ethical questions I was talking about are the same ones that you would talk about when you're watching Blade Runner or Ex Machina or iRobot. What is a person? Do these creatures or these robots, if they're basically fully sentient, do they deserve the same rights as us? Blah 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 blah, that sort of thing. But this is just entertaining. It's fun. It's funny. Some violent parts, and yeah, it's good. Good stuff.
Okay, what do we have coming up?
I should finish Succession season 2. We're watching Presumed Innocent as well, and After Sun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Have a great week, everybody. Bye.